Hello, party people. So, as an expert, as you can see, because right there, as an expert on the NBA, here's my playoffs preview. Yes, I understand the season's not over yet, but looking at the numbers, there's only so much that can change. But in my opinion, like if you count the play-in teams, that's a new thing that they're keeping on doing. Um, the top 10 are gonna stay the top 10, in my opinion. Like, can lightning strike, of course, but still. Okay, so we're gonna start with an easy one and look at the Eastern Conference right now, as usual. But hey, what do I know? Okay, so if you see on the right is the Eastern Conference for round one of the playoffs. The playoffs start April 15th. The play-in games start on April 11th. And at the end of April 11th, whenever the play-ins end, I guess on April 15th, the top eight in the East and the top eight in the West will compete for the championship. First in their conferences, of course. Okay, if we look at Milwaukee, um, like they, I'm pretty sure they're already, haven't they clinched the number one spot? I think they have. Uh, so I've never really known how to feel about Milwaukee before, because like I think Chris Middleton is a little bit overrated. I think Giannis is underrated. Um, yes, Giannis won a chip. How many times have they been in a postseason and they did not get another chip? Now I get it. Winning one chip is like, that's more than most NBA players are ever going to see in their career. I get it. But if you're a two-time MVP, do you understand what I'm saying here? Like, if you're a two-time MVP, you got to take care of your team like a two-time MVP, and just passing the ball to Giannis every time so he can dunk. Like, come on, like the team needs more depth than that. But hey, what do I know? I'm not a coach. Um, the Milwaukee will face the 8 seed, of course, because that's their benefit of being the number one seed is to face arguably the worst team in the conference, or in the playoffs, the conference playoffs. At If you look at Toronto and Chicago, um, I really want Chicago to win that first play in against Toronto. I'm confident Chicago can pull it off. If you look at the play in with Miami and Atlanta, to like, what the fuck is Miami doing, man? Like, it's okay. If you look at Golden State and compare it to Miami, right? Both teams have a winning culture, but Golden State actually wins. It's one thing to actually have a winning culture. It's another thing to actually win. And like, has Miami consistently made the playoffs, especially since they acquired Jimmy Butler? Of course, but as much as I like how gritty Jimmy Butler is, like, let's be real, he's not an MVP. Whatever the fuck is going on with Tyler Hero, like, I didn't say anything. With Cleveland and the Knicks easily get that one. Yet, like, I'm ecstatic the Knicks actually made the playoffs. Um, and Julius Randle, like, he should have been voted most improved player like two or three times in a row. Like, the things that guy is doing compared to how shitty he played in LA, like, I don't think anybody was expecting that. Interesting story. When Luke Walton, former assistant coach at the Warriors, former head coach at the Lakers, I heard a story he once told to Julius Randle. He said to Julius Randle, Luke Walton said, "You have the potential to be an MVP," and something like that. And I think that really hit home for Julius. And it took a while, but like, did he develop into this maybe one of the best players, if not the best player on the Knicks. Like, dude, you gotta lock that guy in, man. Like, the Knicks are gonna fuck this up somehow, but like, for right now, let me have my moment. Um, the 76ers in Brooklyn, easily 76ers, easily. So if I see obviously Milwaukee facing Chicago, but Milwaukee's easily gonna win that one, especially with Lonzo down. I don't know what the fuck is going on with Lonzo's career, like Mr. Glass 2.0. Uh, the Celtics are the number 2 seed, and I foresee them playing Miami, and I think they're gonna have a little bit of a hard time with Miami, but I think they're gonna win. Boston's just a better team this year, and Miami has been too inconsistent, in my opinion. So that's what I have for the first round. Now, if I see Milwaukee's gonna face the Knicks, Milwaukee's gonna win. Philadelphia's gonna face Boston. That one is gonna be interesting. I think that's kind of a toss up, but hypothetically, if I had to pick, I would pick the Celtics. So you're gonna have the Celtics face 76ers. Celtics are gonna win that. Milwaukee face the Knicks. Milwaukee's gonna win that, and it's gonna be between Milwaukee and the Celtics in the conference finals, Eastern Conference Finals. Now, if you look at the West now, this gets a little bit more complicated. So the number, basically the number 5, 6, 7 spots are sort of up in the air right now, and the majority of the Western teams have not clinched a playoff spot. There's some that have clinched a play-in slot, but with 2 remaining games left in the season, because look at Golden State, 42 plus 38 is 80. There's 82 games in an NBA season, and as long as another pandemic doesn't happen, so I don't think it's gonna shake up that much, but out of all the opponents to face, I think Golden State is better off facing Sacramento, even though Sacramento is a higher seed. I understand, but let's be real, Phoenix is a better team, especially now. Phoenix is a better team. The Clippers are, if Kawhi stays healthy on the Clippers, and maybe even Paul George might not be necessary. Like, does anyone understand that the Clippers are a title contender? Like, they're not going to beat Phoenix, but like, they have a chance, which is more than you can say with some of the other Western teams. But let's go from the top down. Denver is gonna face Minnesota. Denver is gonna beat Minnesota. Phoenix is gonna beat the Clippers, in my opinion. Golden State's gonna beat Sacramento, and the Lakers facing the Pelicans for the play-in. Come on, the Lakers they should beat the Pelicans, and interesting dynamic that's gonna happen with the Lakers and the Pelicans. So the majority of the players on the Pelicans, when the Anthony Davis trade was made, were from LA, and they went to New Orleans. Now, does anyone understand they're basically facing their old team? Because after everything they had to do to get LeBron and Anthony Davis, it's basically the old Lakers versus the current Lakers. And that's very interesting to me. But Memphis is going to beat the Lakers. As long as Ja Morant stays healthy and doesn't shoot anyone, or like rough someone up for some drug money. I mean, like, what the fuck? Then yes, Memphis has more than just a fair chance of beating the Lakers. I don't care how many records LeBron has broken, but come on. Now I do want to show you some interesting standings there. So I'll just finish this part though. Denver's gonna, I don't know, Denver and Phoenix. I think that's a toss up. But if I had to pick, Phoenix is a better team currently. As long as, let me put it this way. I'm not saying Kyrie is toxic, but I'm saying that Kevin Durant is a little more level-headed And I know that's kind of like comparing apples to oranges, but how much controversy has Kevin Durant caused compare to to the destruction that Kyrie has left on almost every team he's played for? And I don't know, because like people are saying trade Kyrie again because like uh he's gonna ruin Luka, like he's gonna mess up his game and shit. Like, I mean, okay, let me tell you this quick story. This is kind of a sidebar. Supposedly there was a rumor that Kyrie went to Steve Nash's house, his mansion, whatever, um, when Steve Nash was a head coach for the Brooklyn Nets, a rookie coach. Um, Kyrie looked. Supposedly, this is a story. I don't know if this is true. Kyrie looked at Steve Nash's MVP trophies, and he said to Steve Nash, "How many of those trophies are Kobe's trophies?" So, first of all, that is your head coach, and you don't insult your head coach like that. I've never even played team sports, and I know that's a rule. Not only is it a rule, it's like a law. How are you gonna disrespect your own head coach like that, and arguably get him fired, and then leave the fucking team anyway? I like. I'm not denying Kyrie probably has the best handles and arguably maybe the history of the NBA. I would go as far as saying that, but I also would go as far as saying he's like he's like a disease. He's a cancer. He's toxic. Like he, I mean, logically you can maybe say he just hasn't found a team he works well with yet. But like, how many fucking teams is he gonna go to before he actually succeeds? And I'm pretty sure the Brooklyn Nets are actually doing better without Kyrie and KD on the team right now. And it's a colossal waste of time was that whole Brooklyn Nets experiment. I'm not gonna get into that because I addressed that before, but hey, whatever. So if we look at the standings, right? The top five in the Eastern, that's what the little X next to the team name, that means they have clinched a playoff spot. Generally, that's not going to shake up the first five because like the records are already established. If you look at the Brooklyn Nets, right, at 44 and 36, even if they won the last two games, New York will still be with 47 wins. So that's why the top five isn't going to shake up that much. In the East, the it's pretty simple because the teams that clinch a play-in spot are 8, 9, 10, respectively the Hawks, Raptors, and Bulls. If you look at 11 through 15, Pacers, Wizards, Magic, Hornets, Pistons, they're already, it's impossible for them to make the playoffs at this point because their record is that bad. And it doesn't even matter if they win the last two of their games. So they're basically just going to throw the bench out there and just be like, hey, practice. So, like, you're going to lose by practice. Practice, not a game. So, if you look at in the West, this is where it gets, like, way too complicated, but that's the nature of the Western Conference. Number 1 through 4 isn't going to change that much because if you look at it, if the Clippers win the last two games, they'll still be number 5. The teams that are in danger of not even getting a play-in spot is basically Timberwolves, OKC, and Dallas. Now, I understand Dallas is number 11 right now, but if Dallas won their last two games and OKC lost their last two games, the Mavericks will clinch a play-in spot. Because if you look at the Jazz, Trailblazers, Spurs, and Rockets, they're already out of the playoffs. It's impossible for them to make it. I will address that really quick. That, okay, Damian Lillard, okay, the grass might not be always greener on the other side, but you've been playing on the Blazers for how long? And generally, you make the playoffs. But what the fuck happened this season? That's all I'm gonna say about that. Like if winning a championship is not that important to you, why are you in the NBA? Like, isn't the ultimate goal of every team in a team sport to win a championship? Like, am I way off base here? Like, am I making any sense here? Like, why would winning a championship or even making the playoffs not be that important? I'm not saying Damian said the playoffs are not important. I'm saying you need to take a pay cut or something to get better players on your team. But if you want to get that bag, if you want to make your own money, whatever. But you're hurting your team that supposedly you are so dedicated to. I mean, I get it. You're making a ridiculous amount of money compared to other players, other star players on losing teams, but you're on a losing team. Sorry, no, I'm a fan of Damian Lillard. I like him, but like his mentality on team sports is, I don't even know what he's thinking. So yeah, so number 5, 6, and 7 is interesting because well, actually 3, 5, 6, and 7, the seeds, um, they're all California, and if okay, let me take a look at this again because I want to look at this again. If and when Golden State beats Sacramento, it will be very interesting to see a Clippers and Golden State round. Um, it would also be interesting to see a Lakers and Golden State. Even a Lakers and Clippers would also be interesting with a rematch between Kawhi and LeBron. But does Golden State have a score to settle with Kawhi? Of course. But you got to remember that supposedly Zaza Pachulia intentionally injured Kawhi Leonard to take them out of the running for the playoffs. Sure, he intentionally injured him. All right, whatever. But yeah, the Dallas Mavericks situation is, I just feel like it's gonna get unnecessarily ugly. I think it's gonna get, because I'm pretty sure they were in playoff contention at some point, and now they're sitting at the 11th seed, which is, obviously not gonna make the play-in. So what the fuck is Dallas doing? Like, I don't know. The whole trade didn't make sense to me because now one of the best players on the Mavericks went to the Knicks, and it was basically a real simple trade and an easy pickup. Was it a trade or was he a free agent? I don't know, but all I know is I believe it was Brunson. I think that was him who went to the Knicks, and like that's not a bad thing for the Knicks. That's a very good thing in my opinion. And hopefully it helps them in the playoffs. But at the end of the day, the Knicks are still the Knicks, and as long as they're owned by Dolan, then I didn't say shit. Whatever. All right, so that's my wrap up here. If you look at Utah, the Blazers, Spurs, and Rockets they're not gonna make it. It's mathematically impossible. The 5, 6, and 7, that's I don't know. Of course, I'm biased, but I'm not sure what Golden State was doing this season. I don't think they were intentionally tanking. I know they had a very bad road record, which, I mean, like, I don't want to say is anyone's fault, but if you go the hierarchy and like, this falls on the head coach in my opinion. This falls on Kerr. Like, something went on with Kerr's coaching where the Warriors just slipped, and they just kept slipping until they were in danger of not making the playoffs at one point. Can you imagine that? The defending champions not making the playoffs. And it's like, I don't know. Like I'm optimistic, but at the same time, it's like this season could have went a lot better for them, and now they're gonna be stuck facing some pretty stacked teams. So that's all I'm saying. Whatever though, because like someone has to beat these teams. Like at some point, one team has to win the championship. If you want to look at it like that, at some point it's gonna happen. It's just how rocky of a road is that gonna be to get there. So anyway, that's my predictions for this the 2023 NBA playoffs and the finals, of course. Between excuse me. Okay, let me pick here. Again, I'm biased. If you have Golden State and I'm gonna pick Golden State and Phoenix for the West Conference, and I want to say that's easy. That's an interesting rematch with the Warriors against KD and now in a new team, a stacked team at that. I'm gonna root for Golden State, of course, and between Golden State and Denver, I'm gonna say. Again, I'm biased. I can't say that enough times, but I'm gonna say the finals will be between Golden State and you know what? I'm gonna go with Boston again. I think they're gonna have a rematch. I think it's gonna be a very different season, not season, series, and I mean, I don't know, like. I mean, the Celtics have been improving over and over and over, and the situation with Jaylen Brown, where he's gonna go, if he's gonna stay, blah blah blah, are they gonna trade him? Like, that is unnecessary noise because if the Celtics win the championship, you're gonna want to keep the team together, and if only just improve it. You want to make it worse, which is something some teams need to understand, but hey, whatever. So yeah, I got Golden State and Boston. I think, me personally, I'm gonna say Golden State and Boston in the NBA Finals is gonna be a repeat of what you saw last year. It's gonna be like Golden State in 6. That's what it's gonna be. Now, is this coming from the guy who just said Celtics have been improving every season? Yes. But they're not going to State. There's a reason Stephen A. Smith picked Golden State to win again for a championship, and it has not wavered from that. Even the fluctuating record of the Warriors, Stephen A. Smith has always said Golden State, Golden State, Golden State. And you're talking about a guy who has how many years, how many decades has he followed the NBA, commentated on NBA, reviewed the NBA? Like, come on. Like, you don't think he knows what's going on? Come on. All right, guys. That's what I got for this year, and on April 15th, it's gonna be pretty interesting. I think there's some obvious matchups, but there's a lot of close ones too, and I think this is going to be one of the better postseasons that we've seen, as opposed to the demolition that we saw when KD was on the Warriors. I'm like, it was like the Warriors face the Cavaliers. The Warriors face the Cavaliers. And I was just like, how many times you guys gonna play each other? And like, yeah, that's just the nature of the beast, though. I get it. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves and each other.